everybody, welcome back to Stringman Guitars. I've got some info for you. We just got through the holidays, and maybe you or somebody you know got themselves a new guitar for the holidays. A lot of those guitars may be imports. If you're lucky and got an American Gibson or Fender or G&L, you know, hooray for you, or any other the higher end brands. But most of the guitars are imported. Pretty much everything 600 and below, even some that are more expensive. Anyhow, you got Mexican Stratocasters or Mexican Fenders, and you got the Squires that come from either Thailand, China, or Indonesia. To keep costs down, their drying of the wood process isn't as thorough, I guess you'd say. And also the assembly of the guitar, because of cost, is, you know, they have a template they go through and it meets minimum standards and boxed up and shipped. That's what it does. Anyhow, if you got your guitar and you got it tuned, you know, to your open strings, this is not one of those guitars. This is a guitar that I made, but using it as a reference, most likely starting at the top, chances are that they almost 80% probability that they did not cut the nut properly, so that whenever you fret at the first fret, it's so high off of that first fret, you're pulling the string sharp whenever you fret at the first fret, or at any of the other frets for that matter, but certainly at the first fret. There should be between 18,000 and 22,000s at the first fret, and this particular guitar has 19, and whenever I fret here, it's a F, not an F sharp. But others are so far off, and also then coming down the edges of the frets are really sharp because they basically use a certain tool. They go over it a few times to bring the frets down to the wood, but they don't take care of the corners of the frets, and you end up with these cheese grater sort of feeling frets, and they can really gouge your hand. Also, the relief is usually off because it's coming from a tropical climate to where you are, and if you were to throw a capo on the first fret and get your, in the case of a Stratocaster scale, which is 25, or a Gibson scale, I'm sorry, is it 25, 25 and a half? I should know these things. But anyhow, Strat scale or a Gibson scale, anything that's a Strat scale, which this guitar is, if you hold down at the body joint with a capo on the first fret and you measure with a feeler gauge that's 10,000ths of an inch, it should just barely sneak through there at the 7th and 8th fret, which this one does. If the strings aren't low enough, it's going to be hard to learn on that instrument. If they're too low, you're going to have buzzing, which also makes it frustrating. So, you know, I guess the point of the video is, if you got a guitar for the holidays, Christmas, whatever, you want to make sure that you take it to either the store you bought it at or somebody like me to do a setup on it. The other thing that they don't really adjust properly is the string height. Whenever you hold down on the last fret, there's a certain gap that should be between the string and the top of the pickup poles. And they're usually way off. And then finally, your intonation, that is the length of the string, whenever you hold down, or whenever you hit an open note and then you hit it on the 12th fret, you should have the same note. If you don't, then the intonation of the bridge is off. The other thing is, as far as the string height, you see that all these saddles, whenever I take them and look at them this way, they should all be flat. One shouldn't be this way and then this way and then this way. They should all be flat, and they should match the radius of the neck at the final fret. And the reason I say that is because some guitars are compound radius. You may have a 14-inch radius here and a 9.5-inch radius here. You want the bridge to match the radius of the neck at the closest fret to the pickup. And those are all adjusted with these grub screws. If you go to a big box store and have that guitar set up properly and the frets uncheese grated, you're probably looking at $50–$60 if it's a fixed bridge. If it's a Strat, it might be as high as $70. And here I'll charge you $35 to do a full setup for a fixed bridge. Go $40 for anything that has a moving bridge, like a tremolo. $45 for something that has a Floyd Rose style. And another thing that you probably want to double check whenever you first get this instrument, if all that other stuff works and you find a thing going out of tune often, it's probably because they did not stretch the strings, like stretching the strings over and over and over again to get them broken in, so that whenever you tune it and you come back a minute later and play it again, it stays in tune. They usually don't do that. There should be lubrication at all the contact points here on the bridge, and if you have a string tree on a Stratocaster or Telecaster style guitar, those need to have some sort of lubricant. I have a graphite product here that's made by Stu Mack that I use with a little tiny hobby shop felt brush. So anyhow, if you're in the Pittsburgh area and you need a setup done, hit me up on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel, and we'll make your axe sharp so you can play it. So with that said, Happy New Year, and let's get the guitar that you got in playing condition. See you later. Be good to everybody. Happy New Year.